Stewart, and I am a nursing student with Bluefield State College. I also work at Raleigh General in SICU, and this is...
And I'm Thomas McVeigh. I also work at Raleigh General, but I also work in endoscopy, so...
We actually went to nursing school together. We graduated together, so we kind of know each other. Alright, I'm going to start talking about cross-contamination. Has anybody ever heard that word before?
No.
Okay. Why does cross-contamination matter? When you mix your fruits and vegetables, or your fruits and vegetables with your meats, it can cause bacteria to mix, and if you ingest this, it can cause different illnesses. You may have heard of one called salmonella. So, another thing I'm going to talk to you about is storing leftovers, okay? So, cross-contamination, there's some ways to prevent this, and I'm going to name a few for you guys. Like I said, it's usually your fruits and vegetables and your meats. So chicken, beef, pork, anything like that, and then all your fruits and vegetables. You don't want these to touch or get anywhere close to each other until they're cooked. One way that's really important is using different cutting boards and plates. And if you say you only have one cutting board and you want to use it for your meats first, clean your meats, that's fine. But when you store your meats somewhere, you need to wash your cutting board really good with soap and water, and then you can cut up your fruits and vegetables. Another way, and this is something I'm really bad about doing, is throwing in all my food together in the buggy all at once at the grocery store. But we need to make sure our meats are separate from our other foods. Let's see. In the refrigerator, we don't want them touching in the refrigerator even. We want them sealed in their own containers and on separate ends of the refrigerator. Last one is thawing foods. So once you get your food out of the freezer, a lot of times it's easy for us to just set it on the counter and let it unthaw there. We don't want to do that because the juices, once it unthaws and everything, can get on the counters or the sink, and we can get bacteria that way. So number one, best way to prevent cross-contamination is washing your hands with soap and water. Okay, and that's an easy thing to do, so we should all be doing that. And like I said, an example of cross-contamination is like meats and fixing a salad with your chicken. So we just want to be very careful with cross-contamination. Okay, storing leftovers. I know if you're like me, I like to cook big meals and you can't eat it all in one day, so we want to store it and eat it leftovers for the next day. But we want to put them in airtight containers, okay? My example for this is, it's very easy. I've done it. We've all probably done it. Got a pizza from Papa John's or wherever, and we just put the whole pizza box in the fridge for the next day. That's not an airtight container. So we need to maybe put our pizza in aluminum foil and put it in a box. We need to do that within 2 hours. So our pizza don't need to be sitting on the table for 4 or 5 hours and then we put it in the fridge. It's within 2 hours that you want to store your food. And then most foods, which Thomas will talk to you more about this in a little bit, most foods are good for 3 to 4 days leftovers, okay? And then I brought some containers to show you. They are airtight. I think they're both brands are Rubbermaid. Airtight containers, okay, and there's all kinds of different sizes for different types of foods, okay? So just remember those things. We want to keep our foods separate so we don't get bacteria and get sick. And we also want to store our leftovers the proper way by putting them in airtight containers within 2 hours, and leftovers are usually only good for 3 to 4 days, okay? So Thomas has some things he's going to talk about.
Okay, so to add on what Olivia was talking about, 2 important things to deal with food are refrigerating and freezing the food properly, and also be careful of the expiration dates on the food. So, like Olivia said, 2 days is all, 2 hours is all it takes for germs to start growing on perishable food. But if the temperature is actually above 90 degrees, that time actually will go down to an hour. So always remember to refrigerate your foods within 2 hours. The cold temperatures of the refrigerator or the freezer will slow the growth of the bacteria. So freezing, especially meat that you're not going to use anytime soon, is very important because all of those germs will be frozen off. So another important thing to remember is when you're bringing foods out of the freezer or you're bringing them out of the refrigerator to possibly thaw, you don't want to thaw them directly on the counter, chicken, meat, beef, things like that, because the juices can leak out of plastic packaging and go straight onto the counter, which goes back to what Olivia was talking about with cross-contamination. You don't want nasty meat juice on your counter that you're about ready to chop vegetables with, because that's going to get you very, very sick, and it's going to get you very sick very fast. Now, with the expiration dates on the food, you always want to be careful when you buy them at the store to try to buy expiration dates a little bit farther out, especially if you know, okay, maybe I'll cook this in a few weeks. You don't want to exactly get something that's going to expire in 2 weeks, because what if in 2 weeks, oh, I'm going to go on vacation, I'll fix it when I get back. You come back, don't look at the date, you're cooking expired food. You could get you and your family pretty sick from doing that. So, another thing is when you refrigerate food and you take it out, and it's been in there a while, you cooked it a couple weeks ago, I wonder if it's still good. Don't test it, smell it, anything like that okay, yeah, it's probably good. It's probably not. Definitely don't put raw vegetables, meats, anything like that directly on the counter, because a lot of people don't clean their countertops in between meals. Everyone just gets their stuff out, cooks, puts it away, doesn't clean their kitchen properly. Another good way to spread germs. So, again with the expiration dates, is you want to be careful. Some foods have shorter expiration dates than others. Milk, for example, has a pretty short expiration date because milk it's kind of fat-based, so germs will grow faster in the fat. Now, another thing to remember is your refrigerator should be set at around 40 degrees. Now, most refrigerators nowadays will have a digital thing up top that'll list the temperature. It'll have the temperature for the refrigerator and the temperature for the freezer. But some of the older refrigerators still have the dial that has coldness from 1 to 6, 1 to 7, however yours is set up. You want your refrigerator to be set up to around about a 4 or 5 is what the manufacturer recommends, and there's usually an arrow that'll tell you that, because you don't necessarily want to freeze the food in your refrigerator because it won't taste very good. But after you open something and put it back in the refrigerator, something like chicken, it's only really good for about 1 to 2 days after you've opened it. So if you're thinking about, I'll use this chicken one day for something and then I'll use it next week to cook something else, that's not necessarily the best idea, because within those few days a lot of bad, nasty germs can start growing in that. Something else that everyone seems to keep around for a long time are eggs. And once you open the carton of eggs, it's really only good for about 3 to 5 weeks. Now, depending on how you got them from the store or when you bought them, they may go bad before that, but a lot of times people will keep eggs just until they run the carton out. And if you eat, 1 egg every couple of days, you may run into that problem. So, something else to think about is when you buy these products, and if the expiration date is ineligible, like you can't read it or anything, don't take a chance with it. Just pick up another package, look for something that's more legible that you can read, and if you have problems reading it, if you're with someone, ask them if they can read it, or ask a worker that works at the store if they can determine what it is. Or, when in doubt, throw it out. So, Olivia, what were you going to say about healthy eating?
Okay. I'm going to give you guys 3 benefits of healthy eating. I know everybody's mind, when you say healthy eating, everybody's cringing and they're thinking, oh, fruits and vegetables. But you can actually find foods that you enjoy. I think this is the best reason for you guys. One reason to eat healthy is to have more energy. And what are some simple reasons that we want more energy? You guys can tell me answers, but I'm going to give you some too. How many of you in here has grandkids? probably quite a few of you. We want to play with our grandkids, right? We want to have energy to play with them in the evenings or in the mornings. Work. If some people have jobs still, you want to feel good when you're getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning to go to work. You want to have energy to do some exercises or strengthening exercises. And another reason is we want to have energy through the day so we don't have to take naps and we can sleep all the way through the night. Okay? Who has been super sleepy after a big meal? Yes, me and Thomas have done that before. Usually the reason why we're just really sleepy after a big meal is because we ate too much or we ate the wrong foods. So normally if we eat healthy foods and we eat till we're full, we still have energy. We don't want to crash and go home and sleep and take a nap on the couch. So I'm going to give you some examples of some foods that give you energy. How many of you have ever heard of the word carbohydrates or carbs before? They give you energy. Some good carbs are wheat breads, mostly wheat breads. Rice gives you, sweet potatoes, oatmeal. Those type of foods are good carbs and they will give you energy. A lot of people eat pasta before sports competitions or things like that, and it's because it has a lot of carbs in it. But you want to make sure you're eating the right carbs. Nuts, cashews, almonds, peanuts, pistachios, any of those, they convert sugar into energy. So maybe not the chocolate-covered almonds or all those. They're not probably as good, maybe in small amounts, but nuts are very good for you. Lots of fiber. Has anyone's doctors told them to eat lots of fiber before? They help you bulk. They give you bulk. They give you energy. This is in your fruits and your vegetables. You see those Fiber One bars at Walmart and everything. And I'll tell you, a good reason to eat fiber is so you don't get constipated. So that's a good reason. Lots of fiber. Water is super important. Water is going to give you a lot more energy than carbonated drinks like pop, okay? And any other unsweetened drinks, so like tea, unsweetened tea is better. Just things like that. Milk. Eating a big breakfast in the morning will give you more energy. So I know, like for me, it's easy when I'm running late for work, I just grab something quick to eat and run out the door. But it would be better if I would make myself sit down, have time to cook a breakfast and eat it before work. I would have more energy throughout the day. And then the last one, which you guys are probably really going to like, is dark chocolate. If you eat dark chocolate in small amounts, it is known to give you energy. Okay, so more energy is one reason to eat healthy. The second is to maintain a healthy weight. Some of these are repetitive, but one way to maintain a healthy weight is to drink enough water. We want to drink 8 ounce glasses of water a day, and I'll show you what that is a little bit later. We want to limit our salt intake. That gives you more energy. I know that I have ate Chinese food before and felt so terrible afterwards, and that's because it has a lot of salt in it. And another word you might see on packaging and things like that is sodium. So we want low sodium foods and low fat. Low sodium and low fat. Fiber. Again, fiber. It's going to come up a lot. Fruits and veggies. That is going to give you more energy and help you maintain a healthy weight. And sometimes the fruits will take care of your sweet tooth because a lot of fruits are sweet. Low-fat dairy products, yogurt, cottage cheese, milk. They have so many awesome yogurt flavors out now, you would probably not know which one to pick because they all look so good. And then this doesn't really have to do with food, but make sure to maintain a healthy weight, you eat right and you do exercises or strengthening exercises. Okay. If you watch calories, I know some doctors tell you to watch calories. The average woman is supposed to be around 1,600 to 2,000 a day, and the average man is supposed to be from 2,000 to 2,400 a day. Okay. The third reason, which is very important, is to prevent illnesses or diseases. So none of us in here like to be sick. We like to take care of ourselves. 4 main issues, like when you don't have a good diet, you're more prone to getting heart disease, lung disease, being a diabetic, and cancers. This is kind of tying it all in together, but you obviously want to eat healthy. Eating healthy is a huge part to not becoming sick or getting a disease or an illness. That is something we can change. That is preventable. It's not like it's a genetic that we can't change. So if we ourselves eat better, we're doing better staying away from illness. Decreasing our fats, which we talked about, which also helps you maintain a healthy weight. Increasing fiber again. So we see that a lot. So it's important, especially as you get a little bit older, to eat tons of fiber. And what did I say that was? Like fruits and vegetables, okay? I found that some people say leaving the skins on the fruit, so like not peeling your apple before you eat it, or your plum or your pear. The skins on the fruit actually have a lot of nutrients in them and fiber. So does anybody know how much fruit and vegetables they should eat a day? The average is 5 to 10 servings of fruits and veggies combined, okay? So really you should be eating a fruit and a vegetable with each meal, plus as a snack during the day, okay? Alright, so we're going to tie all this in together. What are 3 benefits of eating healthy? We said more energy, maintaining a healthy weight, and preventing illness and disease. So for maintaining a healthy weight, I told you guys to drink 8 ounces of water a day. And this is an 8-ounce glass, okay? So it should just be a regular glass. You want to drink 8 of these a day, okay? And then I've got some pictures for you guys. Does anybody know what this food is? We've got some oatmeal, and of course it's got our fruit in it, blueberries, okay? They've probably put some milk in the oatmeal and maybe a little bit of sugar to give it some more taste. So oatmeal, very important. Got good carbs for you, which give you energy. Then we've got all our different types of nuts. It looks like some pistachios, almonds, what are those?
Chestnuts, maybe?
Maybe chestnuts, cashews, and peanuts. Okay, so nuts give you energy. They're a good snack to have around. Then we've got yogurt, which of course has our fruit in it. Again, kiwis, blueberries, and strawberries. Okay? And then last but not least, I know a lot of people don't like this, but when you put fruit in it, it's a lot better. We've got some cottage cheese with strawberries in it, so you can tell how important our fruits are, and our vegetables too. Does anybody have any questions on healthy eating? Okay, we'll let Thomas go ahead and give his part.
So the last part of this presentation, to tie everything in together, is, okay, we want you to eat healthy, and we want you to be smart about what you eat, but at the same time, we also want you to save money while you do this. We don't want you to go and blow all of your money just on food, because we understand you have to get places, you need medications, you have grandchildren, things like that that you need to spend your money on as well. Not everything revolves around food. Unfortunately, food is delicious, but... So, one way that you can save money is the use of store advertisements, coupons, sale papers, things of that nature. So, don't just go blindly into the store and say, oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. It's important to plan ahead before you go. Make a list. Never go to the store while you're hungry. That's one of the big things that can get you into a lot of trouble. You go late at night, you haven't had dinner yet, you say, oh, that looks good, that also looks good. This whole aisle looks good, and before too long, you turn a $75 grocery trip into about a $200 grocery trip, which I've also been guilty of doing before. We're not going to talk about that. So again, stores, Walmart, Kroger, Sam's Club, all of the major, even your local grocery stores like IGA, Piggly Wiggly, things of that nature, they have sale papers. They come out in the newspaper every week, and if you don't get the newspaper, chances are if you go to the post office, people have sale papers laying around that they don't want. You can borrow them from a friend, borrow them from a neighbor, or when you go to the store themselves, they usually have copies of the sale ads sitting at the entrance that if you want to, you can even take time, go in, get a paper, go back out to your car, look at the paper, look at the coupons, or just take time on the side of the aisle as you're going, okay, this is in this aisle, so I'm going to find it because it's 60 cents cheaper than the other brand of stuff. So with the coupons, it's also important to kind of read the fine print on those because it may say only this brand during this period and only this brand during this period. So it's important to kind of read the fine details, or else you might get up to the register and the cashier may look at you like you've got three heads. And another thing is it's always important to look at the expiration date on the coupons because a lot of times the coupons are really only about a week old. So you don't want to kind of use coupons from the last couple papers because they may not be accurate. So another way that you need to save money and can save money is to help purchase realistic portions and reduce your food waste. So if you know, for example, I'm going to be out of town 3 days this week. So realistically, I only need food at the house for 4 days this week that I want to fix, prepare, or say it's close to Thanksgiving, I'm going to have 8 people over, included with myself, to have Thanksgiving dinner, so I need to cook for 9 people. That's a time that you need to buy a little bit extra, but you also need to be realistic about what you purchase. You don't need to purchase an individual turkey for each person, 3 10-pound bags of potatoes, and a giant 5-gallon drum of gravy. That's just, it's unrealistic, and you're going to be throwing a lot of food out, or everyone is going to be about 50 pounds overweight before this is all over. So when you go to the store, they have typically, even in cans, canned vegetables, canned fruits, they have different sizes. They have the small little squatty cans, they've got the average size can, and then they have the big giant jumbo cans for concession stands and schools and stuff like that. You're probably not going to need the jumbo size of anything. Now, if you know, okay, I like peas, but I'm the only one that eat them, maybe consider purchasing the small itty-bitty can instead of the average can, because typically that'll save you about 30-40 cents, and 30-40 cents times a couple times a week, times a couple times a year, it eventually ends up resulting in some savings. So, again, with the food waste, is when you know you're not going to be home that much, just don't purchase as much food, because you don't want to come home to something in the refrigerator. Oh, is that growing fur in the back there? What's that smell? You don't want to come home to one of those situations. And it's important that before you leave for a vacation or a trip or anything like that is to clean out your refrigerator ahead of time. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, you don't want to come home and, oh, well, I cooked this last week, it should be fine, I'm just going to heat it up, it'll be okay. And you take a bite into it and it tastes absolutely awful because it's probably rotten at this point. So, another way, some of the realistic portions that you can do is they even have some of the individual meals. Like if you're kind of big on the freezer meals. Now, like Olivia was talking about earlier, a lot of these have a lot of sodium, a lot of cholesterol and stuff. But a lot of them are actually getting pretty healthy. They have, the heart choice, the healthy choice, that have the low sodium, the low fat, things like that. If you live alone and there's going to be a couple days during the week of, well, maybe I don't necessarily feel like cooking a big meal, but I know I'm going to be pretty hungry in the evening, so I want an average size meal for myself. You can buy one of those little individual meals or something from the deli, things of that nature, and get it just in an individual size so you're not going to be throwing all of this stuff away. So the last thing that you could do to help save money is, it's kind of going back to the coupons and it's kind of going back to the sale brands, is a lot of these stores have their own brand of products now. You don't have to go out, even with trash bags, you don't have to go out and buy the Glad trash bags. If you go to Walmart, you can buy the Walmart brand trash bags. Because realistically, this is all the same case of it's all going in the trash. So you don't need to buy the big fancy $7, $8 bag of trash bags when you can buy the little small $2.50 bag of trash bags when it's probably the same amount of bags. May not be as strong, but it's going to get the job done. The same concept relates to food. You don't have to buy the big jumbo size Kraft brand of ketchup, mustard, whatever. You can get the same size of the Great Value or the Sam's Club or the Kroger brand for probably half the price, and chances are it's going to taste just the same, and quite honestly, it was probably made in the same factory and they just put a different label on it. Because a lot of the times you pay for the brand and not the product. So that's something important to remember when you go grocery shopping. So something else to think about when you go grocery shopping is to think about what is going to be cheaper. Like I said, you can look at the coupons, kind of make your list out, kind of be economical about this because, again, you've got grandchildren, you've got a lot of things going on in your personal lives, you don't have time and you don't have all the money to spend everything on food. What you want to do is you need to say, well, I really like fruits and vegetables and things like that, so I really want to get a lot of those, but again, I'm going out of town, so I don't want to buy a lot of them. Go get one of the produce bags, get a couple apples, a couple oranges, maybe a thing of grapes. There's your fruit, there's some of your vegetables. Get some carrots, lettuce, things like that. And just think, I know I'm going to eat this, I know it's healthy for me, and I know I'm getting the right size, so you're kind of combining all three things there at once. So you're helping yourself and you're helping your others, especially someone that may want to come over and eat some of your food. So does anyone have any questions about anything? Ways you can save money? Ways about healthy eating? Anything about refrigerating your foods? Expiration dates? Anything like that? So, Ms. Winter, there's also going to be a handout in PowerPoint form that we're going to hand out to all of the residents. And our game is going to be bingo, which I'll also send you a copy of that. And we'll take care of the pizza, the water, the plates, and we'll also get some prizes for the bingo as well. And that bingo will obviously take up the last 30 minutes of the presentation. So,
We're done? Yay!